Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. Manchester United won, Fulham 0. Manchester United win a game of football. It wasn't pretty, but all I will say is if you are not celebrating that last-minute goal by Bruno Fernandes, look yourself in the mirror and realise you are not a Manchester United fan. How can you not celebrate that? I can have people telling me the standards are on the floor, the standards are low. At the end of the day, we're all Manchester United fans and a win is a win. And hopefully, I know we've said this a lot, hopefully it's something that we can kick on from. But we're going to discuss the performance, break it all down with you guys as well, get involved in the chat. And I am joined with Faz, Kev, Mordz. Kev, actually sporting the Christmas jumper, can get that in the link down below and wear it to our Christmas show, the 11th of December. We will all be there. Bayern Munich game, the night before the Bayern Munich game. God, that could be a good one. And we'll be there. Quizzes, Ben Foster, loads of stuff. So make sure you go and get tickets for that. But Manchester United have won a game of football and my captain scores a winning goal. But everyone, Faz, I'll come to you first. I know you were saying throughout the week, you know, prove to me that Erik ten Hag is the right man. The performance wasn't quite there still, but we got a result, which is something that Man United needed.
I think the most important thing I'll say is he had some balls on him today to take off Antony for Pelestri. It was a bit late.
He should have done it 30 minutes earlier.
It was a bit late, but we have seen games where he doesn't take him off. So that's good. He had some balls to take Rashford all the way to London and keep him off the squad. It was some ballsy decisions. You know, Varane coming late on, even after Maguire's injury. I thought Varane would have come on earlier. But a win is a win, like everybody will say. And I see it like this: job done or job saved. Because everybody knew if the game wasn't gonna, if we're not coming out of three points, his job would have been definitely on the line, and he would have been on the chopping board. But the pressure's not off. It's definitely not off, because Copenhagen is just round the corner. A team who've scored first in both of their Champions League games, got a draw against Galatasaray away.
Didn't score first in ours.
They didn't score first in ours. No, that's true. And they're going to be looking at these games and they're going to say, how can we make the most of this opportunity and maybe defeat Manchester United. Fulham will be kicking themselves though. They had numerous opportunities. I think on another day, if they had maybe Jimenez on earlier, maybe they could have had you know, a goal above or two goals even.
Jimenez hasn't really kicked on it Fulham though.
No, yeah, he hasn't. But you can't discredit the player for what they are as well. I just take it Luton next and we'll see where we go from there.
Well, this is what I mean. I know a lot of people are being negative about the performance and this and that, but I just want to put things into context. And I know I'm always trying to look for the glass half full rather than glass half empty. But when I say, you know, Fulham is a tough place to go. Yeah. It really is. Arsenal, I think, did Arsenal lose against them or draw against them? They drew against them.
Their best performances were Brighton and Arsenal.
Yeah, they drew against them this season. Fulham is a tough place to go. Craven Cottage is a tough place to go. Last year, we won the game in injury time. Garnacho in like the last kick of the game. And this team is a team that have been terrible, let's be honest, all season. They did pull together in this game and we ended up winning it. We stayed in the game. We're going to talk about individual performances. But when I say we can kick on, we can, because we've got Copenhagen midweek. It will be tough. They're a good team. They came to Old Trafford and did well, and we're away again. Then you have Luton at home and you're thinking, you know what, like, you know, that should be a win. And then you've got Everton, and I know it's away, but it's still not a ridiculously tough opposition. I might be eating my words, but it's a good set of fixtures to kind of get some results together. And that's exactly what we need. I mean, Kev, we were talking before the game. Scott McTominay said himself that the players saw the sign in the crowd about play like you mean it. And do you feel like the players did that today?
If I'm being totally honest, I didn't see 100%, you know, from the first whistle that United had this fight, what was it, the dog in the fight or whatever it was that McTominay was on about after the match. I didn't think it was a wholehearted performance, but you have to judge it.
I think they were fighting at the end 100% for that goal.
Yeah, well, to be honest,
more like.
And fair play to the United fans that were there. I mean, it wasn't a great game to watch, but to be singing them on, you know, with 5 minutes to go, and you could sense, as I've said that to you, if we can just create one chance there towards the end, it's just whether we're going to take it or not. Arise Bruno Fernandes, because that was on cue. And Fulham has been a tough game over the years. I remember United scoring late goals against Fulham. I remember Ronaldo being in his first stint at Manchester United scoring a late goal. So people will look at it. They'll look at it and think, well, did they get the performance? No, we didn't, but it is a massive 3 points. And any rival fans that want to beat us with whatever stick it is, you know, what, we're not allowed to celebrate anymore.
I don't care.
You know,
I will celebrate that win.
It's a huge, huge 3 points. And you don't know, we won't know now until a few weeks what this could actually do for this group of players. To be celebrating with the fans at the end, you know, we've been embarrassed by Manchester City, but just to see the connection we had last season, you know, between fans and the players, you could see when they were coming off the likes of Martinez and that, and you had this bond. And I feel like we just kind of lost our way a bit this season. But today was another kind of one of them moments where you can tell the fans, you know, that just the reaction that the players got.
Yeah, the away fans were pretty loud today.
Big shout out to the away fans. They're always absolutely amazing, but they were like, I mean, I didn't agree with a lot of the commentary on TNT Sports. I cannot lie, it was driving me mad throughout the whole game. But what they did say, which was accurate, is that the crowd was basically pulling the ball into the net. I know I'll use that phrase a few times, and people are what you're talking about, but they were so loud all game, and that support is hugely needed away from home, especially considering how bad we've been all season. For the fans to still be singing that loud, it just shows that is what United fans are. And like I said, you're a United fan. If you ask, you've got to be celebrating that goal, because it was. This could be a turning point. And I did say on the build-up show, today's game was a huge test on whether the players are still with Ten Hag. I know there's question marks over quite a few players at the moment, but I think today the proof was that there is a group of players there that still are.
You know how funny it is? During the game, we're all sat there watching the game together, and we're saying players are walking, players are now running back.
What, this game here?
Yeah.
I didn't say that against Fulham.
It didn't seem like they were hard enough in many times. It just didn't see.
There were certain players that were. I saw Mctominay jogging back a few times. Antony jogging back a few times.
I thought Mctominay was good today.
No.
I thought Antony
Mctominay was good today.
Anthony let himself down massively.
But what is good though? How do you define good? Because
Anthony let himself down massively, and Eriksen, it's not as if Eriksen weren't trying. He's just genuinely doesn't have legs.
Incapable of doing it.
Like he's got no physicality. I don't think you could point anyone out today, maybe apart from Antony, because honestly, a few times I saw some laziness, and you can say they're not trying for the team.
The only player I could say that actually played decent was probably Bissaka. Other than that, that's not a Manchester United level performance.
So you don't think,
Maguire
going to Craven Cottage away from home and nicking a 1-0 win's a good result?
Not for Manchester United level.
Considering where we're at.
But
really?
It's the thing is, look.
Arsenal drew
Bruno,
this season.
Right, and so did Brighton. Bruno Fernandes had a lazy shot earlier on in the game, and you were saying, oh, that's shit, that's so shit, that's horrible. Reaction as per what's going on. But then we get a sneaky little goal, and we're all on a high. Now the adrenaline's high that we got a win. But in 24 hours' time, everybody's going to watch that game, or people who do watch that game back, and you'll be pausing, playing certain scenarios, and be like, this is not it. We're giving away the ball, lazy passes behind players, hoofing the ball from Eriksen and losing the ball.
I don't agree with you at all.
But you were saying that during the game where Eriksen was hoofing the ball.
I said Eriksen had some bad passes. I wanted Eriksen to come off, and I wanted Antony to come off. They were the two players that I thought played poorly. I thought everybody else out there put a performance together. I really do. We didn't play well. We didn't play amazingly well. But we were against Fulham away from home after we've been terrible for all season. I think Mctominay did well in the midfield. I thought, yes, Bruno came into the game the more it went on, and he looked better when he actually had two wingers with him that could run and he could play in his actual natural position. I felt sorry for Højlund, because I mean, he was getting nothing from Antony, and
but you said Højlund's been poor today.
Garnacho came and said, yeah, because I didn't think he held up the play as well as he could have been. But I felt sorry for him because he gets absolutely nothing. He gets absolutely nothing, and I thought the back four were really good. I don't agree with you.
I don't think Dalot was good today as well.
He made a goal clearing.
But I'm talking about, you can look at scenarios and say, okay, this scenario was good, that scenario was bad. My overall thing is the performance in itself needs to be a bit more in sync and a bit more cohesive.
Of course,
we're
just trying to get some points over the line
all over the show.
And are you seeing individual players or as a team?
As a team, as a unit.
Oh yeah, of course, as a team we need to be more fluent. We need to have better patterns of play, but we're trying to get 3 points over the line, a difficult place to go when we've been on a terrible
Bruno's
run.
giving away so many balls today, but obviously he got that
Eriksen
one goal,
and
Eriksen as well. Yeah, Eriksen as well. I'm sure we'll talk about that offside in a minute, but like I say, the passing today was just really, really bad. And you say Fulham away is a hard game, and I agree. But Fulham have conceded the same amount of goals as us, one less now because we've just scored one against them. So they're just as bad conceding goals anyways.
Realistically though, would you be saying the same thing if we won the game 2-0 and VAR didn't get involved for an absolutely horrendous decision, by the way. And I was never, even if we didn't score at the end of that game, I was never going to come on here and say, you know, VAR's cost us, even though it would have, because I would have expected us to at least go on. It was so early on, you would have expected us to go on and win that game anyway. But VAR, I'm sorry, it was an absolutely horrendous decision, and I'm sick of him. We've had one decision at the start of this season against Wolves. Fair enough, you know, it should have been a penalty. I take that. I actually am so tempted to go back and count up every single decision we've had go against us. I think it's the first time ever that VAR have got involved and give it as a subjective offside. It's ridiculous. So if we did win that game 2-0, would you be saying the same thing?
We'll never know. I'll probably still be very frustrated of how much gap there is in the midfield, why we're passing the ball so lazy, why is it that we fail to cross the ball on the first time and we hesitate to cross, why is it that Højlund is not getting the service. A lot of different things I'd be questioning, because the manager keeps talking about routines from the back, and he wants to play out from the back that we just don't seem to see. I just don't get why. We've got two really good fullbacks according to today, but we still fail to play out from the back, and we've got Johnny Evans as well, apparently who's a Rolls-Royce centre-back.
Well, to be fair, we've not had a consistent team together for a while due to injuries and other things, but I get what you're saying. There is still massive gaps. Of course, the performance is nowhere near good enough. It's not, and we'll get onto that. So I take that point on board. But, Mordz, I'll come to you. We'll start off with Bruno, captain's goal, bought Erik ten Hag a little bit more time, and really did step up when he needed to. And I think, to be honest, he didn't have the most amazing game, but people calling him out for being a captain, I think today he showed captain's goal in a way.
I wouldn't say the goal shows him as a captain, because that's his role. In my opinion, he's there to get goals and get assists. So whether or not he's a captain or not, he should be in and around that position, and he should be trying to do that anyway, regardless. I think as a captain, the most important thing for United right now is having someone who can lead by example throughout the whole 90 minutes. And that's what we really need. We need someone who the other players can look at and think, okay, even though we might be playing amazing, you can see that our captain is putting in 110%, and that can drive the other players to also do the same thing. And I've always said this anyway about Bruno. I think he actually is one of our better pressers. I can actually see him putting in a lot of effort when it is coming to that aspect of the game. The only thing is just the complaining and the whole fouling and stuff like that, which I feel like it brings the morale of the team a bit down, because it stops play. It's him losing the ball also breaks up play. And if we're a team that wants to have possession, wants to keep the ball, especially against a team like Fulham, we should be dominating possession. Fulham have never dominated possession in any game, no game this season. They're used to playing on the transition because of the wingers. For United, our best midfielder should be one of the players who should be keeping the ball. He should be the one who is controlling the dictating the pace of the game, especially when you've got players like Eriksen who keep losing the ball. We want Bruno to be that player, to be that midfielder, to take control of the game. When he's losing the ball all the time, it doesn't show that. And I feel like that kind of brings the mentality of the team down a little bit, because he's the one who's making the mistakes. So as a captain, that's what I want to see from Bruno. Not last minute goal, it's amazing. Pretty much the same thing happened at Burnley. It's a good goal from a good player, but I want to see more from him when it comes to actually playing good football.
Yeah, I mean, I take your point. I thought it was a great goal from Bruno, and yeah, people were talking about over-egging these celebrations. I want my team to celebrate like that. You want that fight in them. But Kev, one thing I wanted to bring up, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you named him as one of your players to watch in the build-up. I thought great performance from him. We really did need him, and Willian's such a threat, and he seemed to do really well on that side, didn't he?
Yeah, I think I was interested to see how he got on. Obviously, it was kind of first start or Premier League start for a long time since injury. So to see him come in and just slot back in, I'm delighted, absolutely delighted. I mentioned on the build-up show before this that I can't wait to get a settled back four again. You know, to give Onana something. Faz has just touched on that about playing out from the back. You know, I think we do find it difficult because sometimes Maguire and Evans are not really that comfortable on the ball in comparison to a Martinez and a Varane, who hopefully we will get back soon. But Wan-Bissaka was absolutely outstanding today. You know, you're talking about recovery tackle. You know what you're getting with him. The one disappointment was, I said before this game, that, and I was obviously totally wrong, but I said about Wan-Bissaka, that relationship with Antony on the right-hand side, I'm thinking he's now got Wan-Bissaka behind him. This might be the game that Antony sort of kicks in going forward. He knows he's got Bissaka, you know, kind of covering him and stuff. And by God, was I wrong on that one, because Antony...
We'll get on to Antony.
Yeah.
I've got a whole segment lined up for him.
Right, I'll keep my powder dry for that one then. But yeah, no, fantastic performance, brilliant to have him back.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, Faz, like you said, like you look at Antony and you just think, not Antony, sorry, you look at Wan-Bissaka and you think he's been out for quite a while now with injury, comes back in and looks so comfortable straight away. And I think massively assures that back four, really. Yeah.
Bissaka have been very, very solid. I just want to understand if when Shaw or Malacia comes back, I would like to entertain Dalot still being left back, not to bench Shaw, but to play Shaw in centre back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good point.
And try a different back four, because Shaw is so good on the ball. It's just an idea that popped in my head today when I saw Dalot, because he didn't have a fantastic game, but he one, because I think he's just knackered. I'll just say as it is. I think he's just knackered. He's played every single minute since the start of the season. And I wish someone could clip me up. Last season, I said the same thing. I don't know if you remember or Beth remembers. I said the same thing, that, Dalot's playing every single minute. And I wonder when that injury thing is going to knock, because that's natural for a player to get fatigued. But I have high standards, and when I have high standards for a player, I'm going to criticise him like that as well. I think he made a good, goal-saving tackle today, but going forward, that's where his bread and butter is, and I just didn't see as much from him today. I thought many a times when he should be crossing the ball, he didn't. When he should be coming inside, inverting in to take the ball in the middle, he didn't, especially because we know he can shoot as well. But I think it's just fatigue and lapse of concentration, and obviously the last game he got took off, so he's probably had a big shot of confidence as well. So maybe he's hesitating, but Bissaka is great addition to have back, yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought the fullbacks did well today.
Really well,
I mean, but like you said, I think Shaw is left-sided centre-back is actually a really good point. Please, Shaw, get fit.
It gives you another option, doesn't it?
Yeah, because
I need Shaw back ASAP.
Well,
He's versatile.
The question really is about who's going to pair up with. Because you can't have Shaw and Martinez.
No, you can't.
You wouldn't. But if Martinez, I think Martinez is injured longer. I'm not sure though.
I'm not sure either.
Martinez won't be back until January.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the back four in a second. We've got a few super chats coming in. Charlie Max, the fact we have a makeshift back four is not spoken about enough. Shaw's ability in the final third to deliver and Martinez's grit are huge losses. True. Mario Franco, Plistri and Martial changed the game. I'm telling you now that we need to re-sign Dan James and Matic, and we will be title contenders, Ricky FC. You're not wrong about Plistri and Martial coming on and doing really well, but not sure about the other things. WJ Barrett says, come on guys, we improved, show fight and we won. Nick P says, can we just be happy we won a game? Happiness is at a premium right now. We should enjoy the moments. David McKee says we won. Marcus S says, Beth, we played well except Antony and Eriksen. Robbed by VAR. Back four played well. Tough fixture away for any team. Rashford deserves to be benched. We'll talk about that. Anthony Jinks, member for 19 months. Enjoyed the win, but that's United's level now. Any top teams will destroy United. United players are average and overrated. Ronnie Dodge, we won and we are now 6 points ahead of Chelsea. Joseph Finch says, half the panel's negativity is shocking. We are missing over half of our starters not playing well collectively and got a win. Sean Turner says we are struggling, but today showed the players fought till the end and got the win. Massive for the manager. Fans today unreal. Still with the team. It isn't great, but it could be a turning point. Dick Dawson says my spirit has been lifted. United shows solidarity. And Ronnie Dodge says I bet when Shaw is back he will play centre back again. John Williams really liked Garnacho today. Was good. Grown into the game more. And most threatening player will only get better. Only 19 years old. Tiago says, we argue about the players that aren't this but end up being the game winners. It makes me worry because 400 more million to spend. Who next? Delete. And Raymond says, without Rashford, United is more hungry and seem to want to work for each other. Good decision from Erik ten Hag starting Garnacho over Rashford. And finally, Anil says, too much gap, by the way. Eriksen and other players. Eriksen in pivot and other players form parallel with the opposition. No one in between. Really, really good point. We will speak about that too. But thank you everyone for all your super chats. Really do appreciate that. But my next part of call to move on to, and we will get through everything in the show, I'm trying to try and make sure we do that. But next part of call is, while we're on the back four, Maguire and Evans. So I'll let you guys talk on this, but Ricky did want me to bring up this point. He sent it me. He said, City would have smashed whoever played with the way that we are at the moment. Evans has only played 4 other games, and all of them 4 other games are 4 wins, and we've only won 6. 2 clean sheets and only 2 goals conceded in those 4 games. He must have the biggest win ratio by a country mile. So Kev, I'll come to you on this. Evans and Maguire are keeping Varane out of the team. are you now maybe starting to see why? They were solid again today, both of them together.
Yeah, well, I did say earlier, I can understand Ten Hag's kind of preference to go with these two because they have played many games together before. You know, even at Leicester, that was a partnership. So I get it 100%, but I mean, moving forward, I know Ricky calls him a Rolls Royce of a defender. I always think personally that Varane is that Rolls Royce of a defender. You know, I think maybe Ricky's the only person on the planet that would refer to Johnny Evans as being a Rolls Royce. He did well today. I thought Harry Maguire, they complement each other very well. I suppose it's all about partnerships, but I mean, come on, moving forward, more long term. Johnny Evans is what, 35 years old?
Yeah.
Living his best life at Manchester United, probably never ever thought in his wildest dreams that he'd get picked up and be, you know, playing at Manchester United again at this stage of his career. But it's all about squad game as well, isn't it? He's certainly somebody that you can rely on. He doesn't make me feel kind of nervous. You think back to when Harry Maguire was going through his really, really rough stage. It kind of breeds negativity into the back four, whereas I don't really see that with Maguire and Evans. I'm quite confident in it. But at the same time, you know, when we come up against the better teams, no disrespect to Fulham, I'm talking about what we've seen like the other week against the Manchester City, Arsenal who have beaten us this season, Tottenham who have beaten us, Brighton. These have been the tests and the better teams, and Manchester United have failed every time they've played a team.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, in the top half, or teams that are going to be competitive this season.
It is true. Sorry, did you want to comment?
I was going to say the centre-back partnership, people may look like it's doing well, but let's be honest, they had good moments where they defended well.
I think the passing's still so slow and the build-up's not there.
You're supposed to have line-breaking passing from those players. That's what the manager system is, and if we're not getting that, there was a moment where Harry Maguire had a free kick he's taken from the middle of the park, and he's just bamboozled. He don't know where to go. He's deciding to go to Evans, then ask everyone to go long. Then he's decided to go to Bissaka. I don't think he trusts his own judgment in moments like that. And numerous times today, Fulham players, they could have scored. They just didn't have the finishing. If they had the finishing, I think...
That's fair to say. If we're playing a better team,
yeah,
that's where you get...
And the funny thing is, Brentford dispatched them when Brentford played them at home, 3-0. So imagine now how good Brentford is. And when we play Brentford, considering they can do that to Fulham away from home, what can they do to us?
Yeah, because
we beat Brentford with Maguire and Evans in the team.
No, but I'm saying going forward, if we continue playing like this, if we continue to play like the way we did, and a team comes that can have half a chance of finishing, then this stat that Ricky sends, it'll go out the window just like Martial's did.
I agree with you in the sense of 100% Varane and Martinez are a better partnership than Johnny Evans and Maguire, but I do think credit's where credit's due. Maguire has come in, and I think he today as well won everything in the air, played through what looks like an injury, to be honest with you, and I thought, apart from, I think the building out from the back with Maguire and Evans is like pulling teeth. It's not good enough. But defensively, I thought they were both solid. Yeah. I really did.
Can I just say, sorry, on Harry Maguire as well? I mean, I've given this man stick. He got an injury very early on. I mean, at one stage, we thought he'd just played the ball out of play, didn't we? We were like, what's he done? Then we realised he's obviously, you know, he's taken a knock to just above the eye socket, whatever, a head injury. I think he played on in a game where he shouldn't have played on. And for that, I have to look at Harry Maguire. And we talk about commitment, other players in this squad. I think he's played on through a bad injury, because even in the second half, this happened in, the first couple of minutes of the match, first 2-3 minutes, to be in the second half and then still be kind of receiving treatment, because it didn't look right, you know. And it's up to United to make a call on it as well. With a head injury, do you bring him off? But for Maguire to say, I'm staying on and play through that game today, you know, the way he did, I'd take me hat.
But then Kev, Beth and Mordz, someone that's just gone, the entire fan base was calling Harry Maguire egotistical and saying he thinks he's this and that because he wanted 10 mil from the club to leave.
Yeah, but you can give credit where credit's due.
He's stuck around, hasn't he?
I still think
he's got himself back into this team, whether you like it or not. I think
he should have gone in the summer. I still think he should have. But I've got to respect the professionalism for being available and playing through. And actually, when you're given your opportunity, I think he's played well.
People said Harry Maguire...
Yeah, against City, right? I agree in the sense that we are just not up to it as a whole team. It's not on Maguire, the fact that we lost against City, but I think overall, when you look at his performances, I think he's come in and he's playing much better than I think he has in a United shirt in a long, long time.
Defensively,
I mean, the standards are quite low right now.
I feel like, I've said this about Maguire a lot, I feel like literally what you just said, the standards that we have for Maguire are low, and that's why we think he's playing good. When we look at someone like Varane, the difference, in my opinion, between Varane and Maguire is, if Maguire has a game where he doesn't make a mistake, we say that's a good game for him, because we're just used to whenever he's getting the ball, everyone's like holding their breath, like, what's he going to do? Is he going to make a mistake? But with Varane, we don't even, the basics are what we expect from him anyway. For him to have a good game, it's for him to do something that's a bit more progressive, a bit more above the standard of an average defender. That's what we look for in Varane or Martinez. But when we've got Maguire and Evans, we're just looking at them thinking, just don't make a mistake, do the basics and keep it simple, and we're happy with you. Why are we doing that as United fans?
This is an interesting chat. In reality, Maguire and Evans are 5th and 6th choice centre-backs. In reality, when everyone's available in the grand scheme of things, someone just put a chat in, I think it's really interesting. Louis Jenkins says, Varane is being eased back with Martinez out. Ten Hag will not want to risk losing him. So I think that actually is a good point in the sense of, Martinez is out for a long time. Varane's injury prone itself. I think Varane will play against Copenhagen. I don't really think I don't think anything's happened with Varane and Ten Hag behind the scenes. I think there's a such thing as managing players, and I think Varane's a Rolls Royce, but it is annoying when a player is constantly injury prone. But we need to move on to other topics because the show's running away with us a little bit.
Just quickly, it's funny how people said Maguire didn't leave and we could have got Todibo with that money, and people were absolutely going in on Maguire in the media.
He should have left.
Everyone. And people were like, oh, we didn't get Todibo because Maguire wanted money. And now all of a sudden...
Well, you've got to praise someone for stepping up.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the tide will change. I'm just proving a point.
When someone puts a performance in, your opinions change.
Like Mordz said, the performance wasn't actually as good, but the standards are low, so you credit with it.
Wayne List says, I wish Ten Hag would list all of the bad VAR decisions we are getting like Klopp would and make these refs think twice. Garnacho should get a run now. I agree, I would take the fine if I was Ten Hag at this point. Ewan Brody says, Garnacho and Pellistri have got to start on the wings from now on. In my opinion, they test the opposition a lot more and create chances. James Wally said, a win is a win. Today showed more intent in the build-up, greatly overshadowed by a lack of quality and passing the final third. One game changer. And Irakli says, Mainu needs to get minutes. Hope Ten Hag doesn't hold him back for too long. We need Mainu. Yeah, that's a good point. But I want to move on to the Antony situation and then Pellistri coming on and talk about the front line a little bit. So, Faz, Antony was your guy.
Yeah, and yours too.
And everyone backed him because, that's what you do. You back your players. But nearly 90 million for Antony, and I'm sorry, every single thing he did today, because I was watching quite closely, was ridiculously poor. Pellistri comes on and, for me, actually shows more work rate, which is what Antony usually gets applauded for. Shows a bit of fight, shows a bit of intent. I mean, it's not hard to be better than him at the moment, but he's providing nothing to that right wing. What are your thoughts on him and why Erik ten Hag is still even starting him? Yeah,
that's the bigger question. The bigger question, we already knew that Antony was not performing to the level because he's never done that since he started. We had to compare his stats to Sancho and say, no, look, at least he's had a few numbers better than Sancho. He's got loads more to learn in terms of football, and it's funny because he's a young player, but he was a starter in Ajax. Now, you ask the manager, you think, this is your guy, and how much importance do you put on a player that you went into a diamond when Antony was in the squad, when he was having a situation? He's that important to you that you change the entire system of the team just because he's not there. And now when he's here and you see the performances that he's putting in, well, in that case, isn't it fair to say that you shouldn't start him next game, or at least the next run of games?
If he starts next game, I'll be...
Now,
it's questionable.
If he starts next game, which I think he will, against Copenhagen, the bigger conversation is how much trust and faith can you give this manager? Because last season, I backed Antony more so because I backed the manager's decision, not because I said, and we should buy Antony. I never said we should buy Antony. I said, Antony's Ten Hag's guy, so I'm going to back everybody who's Ten Hag's guy. Last season, that was my thing. But then this season it's definitely different, because if you've not coached the player to do better, whilst knowing you need to be able to whip the ball with your right foot rather than your left in certain scenarios, you need to make sure you cross the ball with your left when you've inverted in. You need to make sure if you're running back, you don't just stay back. And when you're on a transition and Garnacho's trying to cross it to Rasmus, you need to be with the front line. These are just coaching things, and if he's not doing that, then I'm gonna really, really hold it against Ten Hag.
Kev, Højlund as well, feel sorry for him because he has one flank completely wiped out when Antony's playing. And I feel sorry for the fullback that plays with him as well, because, you know, he barely ever sees the overlap. I think it's hard to play with him as a fullback because he's constantly slowing the game down and stagnating it in the final third. I thought when he lost the ball a few times today as well, he just launched a leg in instead of, you know, tracking back the way you should do, which we've seen him do in the past. I mean, there's only so much your patience can go on with him, but Højlund must be thinking, why the hell is this a guy playing on the right wing offering me nothing?
At this moment in time, playing Antony in that team is almost more or less playing with 10 men.
And surely Mount's thinking, what else can I do, really? Because he's offering nothing.
Yeah.
Pellistri as well, who actually came on and did really well.
The worst fit, I backed Antony. I've been on here. I've thought I'll give him time, which I will with anyone. So I'm not being reactionary here, but I have to back down on. I can't keep. It's not sustainable. I can't keep watching and hoping for him to do something. All I can do is react to what I'm seeing on the football field. Now, I went on record as saying that Harry Maguire was United's worst ever signing at 80 million or whatever, when I took into consideration what United had paid and what he was giving back to the team. Now, I have to double down big time on that now and look at it and go, well, I'm sorry, but if Antony's 90 million, which I've always said, the price tag to me is not an issue, but I know to other people looking in at Manchester United, they will look and go, well, what are you getting for this investment? £90 million. You're getting absolutely nothing. So in that sense, at this moment in time, I have to change my opinion of Harry Maguire being, you know, the worst signing that United have ever made to Antony, because the way that it is going at the minute, it's not sustainable. And if Erik Ten Hag, who has shown massive faith in him, but if he continues to show faith in him, ultimately this Antony could, in theory, be the player that gets Erik Ten Hag the sack, because you are playing with 10 men. It is not effective. There is nothing on the right-hand side. He very rarely plays him on the left, where we've wanted to see him sometimes. But this minute in time, I'm sorry, performance-related, he gets nowhere near that team. And he's the one person, I said today, when the team news dropped, I looked and I'm thinking, am I the only person here that's thinking, why is Antony on the right again? Or how's he getting in this team?
When we were watching the game and we saw Facundo ready to come on, I was begging for the ball to go out of play just to get him off the pitch. And I don't like to be like that with players, but he was costing us that much.
Yeah. Two things I'll mention is, one, when Antony got signed by Man United, he didn't have a pre-season. He came straight into the team and started playing, which was funny and weird. And then now come this season, when he's not performing early on in the season, everybody's like, he's not performing. Then the news breaks about his situation and everybody's like, well, maybe that's what's affecting him on the pitch. The only thing I can think of is the performance is that bad. I'm more likely to think maybe there's something going on off the pitch.
And plus, maybe if you're Ten Hag, when a player who's getting that much like stick, deservedly so because his performance aren't there, maybe you take him out of the team.
But what did Sancho mean all this time then? Yeah, well, and Sancho has to apologise, but...
I was literally going to say the same thing. When we were watching the game, I was thinking, or I was saying that I understand why Sancho's annoyed now. Like, I 100% get it. Because if I'm Sancho and I'm watching this game, in fact, if I'm watching every game this season, I'm thinking, there's no way I'm getting criticised for what I've done, and this guy who has not put in a good performance this season is still playing every single game. There's no way, if I'm Sancho, I'm sitting down thinking, I can't do that.
Sometimes it's just, I know, like, Antony's been terrible. Like, he has been terrible. But managers have principles, and some of them principles are attitude and work rate in training. And he wasn't training well. That's what Ten Hag said. Do you know what I mean? But I get it, like, looking on the pitch. But if you want to get in, he had the prime opportunity to get into that team when Antony went out of the team. He ruined it by kicking his toys out the pram and having a bad attitude. I don't care what you think behind the scenes, you work hard and you prove yourself each and every day, and that's where Sancho ruined it for himself.
According to him,
Sancho would 100% be playing in this team because Antony's terrible.
According to him, he trained well enough. That's what the player says.
Why would Ten Hag make it up? Is my
just like Ten Hag probably didn't mean it when he said I'm never going to play Ajax football.
But But well, let's move on because I wanted to ask one last question before I move on to Garnacho Rashford. But Mordz, if you're Pellistri, you come on. He was a big factor in that Bruno goal. It looked bright. He took his opportunity. Are you thinking I must be starting against Copenhagen?
Yeah, definitely, especially because Garnacho started, and I thought Garnacho had a decent game as well. Not just offensively, but I feel like him tracking back is one thing that it frustrated me about Rashford because I never really used to see him really run, especially when he loses the ball. When I see a winger lose a ball, I want you to put in 100% effort to win that ball back because that's up to you, you know. You're the reason why you lost the ball, and for the team, for the sake of the team, you have to be the one to go and win that ball back. You shouldn't rely on your fullback to win it back, and I feel like that's one thing that Garnacho does very well. He loses it, and you can see him sprinting back, and you do everything to try and win the ball back, and that's what I really liked about him today. And going forward, I feel like he was a bit unlucky sometimes. He had a few shots where he was very, very direct. I feel like he could have played Højlund a bit more. That's what I really wanted to see. That's the reason why I wanted him in the team, actually, because I feel like Rashford never really played Højlund a lot, but Garnacho in the team, I know that he likes to take on players, and he likes to obviously put the ball in the box with both feet. So that's what I want to see of him a bit more today. But yeah, I feel like him or Pellistri, seeing what Garnacho's been able to do and be able to get obviously a start over Rashford. If I'm Pellistri, I'm thinking I'll put in a good performance today over Antony. I should be getting the same kind of treatment.
Yeah, I agree. I think Pellistri, for me, has to start next game. But I don't think he will, but I think he has to. I thought he did really well and he came on. I really like Pellistri every time he plays. I like the low centre of gravity. He's a young player, so he's not going to have a worldie every single game, but I think you've got to give him the time, and came on and did his job today. I also want to... I thought Martial, I know it's only a little bits, but came on and showed some fight and hunger, and I like that. I like when I see that from my players as well. But Kev, Garnacho, Rashford obviously out of the squad. We were told for injury. Garnacho came in, I would say, was our brightest attacker today. Yeah. Do you think even if Rashford's fit against Copenhagen, Garnacho keeps place?
I would personally, because I'm a firm believer in if you're performing in the shirt, you know, you're only as good as your last game kind of thing, then Garnacho gets in that team. I think the manager will probably have different ideas, but Garnacho, the question mark today, the big one was because he doesn't start that many games. He's used as an impact kind of sub, which has worked. He's come on and had some great cameo roles for Manchester United, but to see him start a game, it's always interesting because the game starts at 0-0, so we're not chasing a game. It's not stretched, which is what Garnacho's used to coming in on the pitch for Manchester United. We're usually trailing or chasing a game, so it's a bit more open. Whereas today he was disciplined. I liked what he did. I thought he got to the byline number of occasions, always looking to cross the ball. But I think the infuriating thing at the minute, I mean, you look at Højlund's kind of reaction to coming off. I don't know whether that's because he don't agree with being brought off. I know it's becoming a bit of a regular thing, the booing, you know.
I think with Højlund, it was the fact he was more annoyed that he's not really had any chances all game.
Very frustrating.
I don't think he could be annoyed at coming off, because I don't think, like, obviously it's not his fault he's not getting any chances, but at the same time, like, you know,
much help.
I think he could have done better in certain instances, but it's hard. It's graveyard shift.
I think it's just the fact that he's not scored.
Yeah.
I think that's why he's annoyed.
And
this is a game that I can score.
I want my striker to be annoyed he's coming off and not scored. That's what you want. But to be fair, Martial and Pellistri came on and did well, so, you know, it's one of them. But but you know what's crazy to me, Faz? Like, you know, we spent 70-odd million on Sancho, nearly 90 million on Antony, Rashford's on 300 grand a week. I can't remember, we bought Pellistri for not much money, and Garnacho, we brought him to the academy for, like, what, 800 grand or something, and people would say at the moment you start Pellistri and Garnacho, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. But
it's crazy.
I think still, you know, I know Rasmus is still very young, but a lot of the play from him today wasn't actually that good. But he's not supposed to be getting involved that much on the ball. I'd rather just see the wingers get involved with the ball and put the ball in through to him. I think there's still.
He's trying his best, and that's what you want.
Yeah, he is, but this is Man United level.
Yeah,
and that's why
Pellistri cost us 5 mil.
And that's why there's a link, isn't it, for another striker in January apparently.
Tony, they want 100 mil for him now. That's never.
But it's just, I mean.
Is that Tony?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, nearly 90 mil for Antony. I would rather Willian on a free at 35. Antony can't.
Do you know that's the levels, because we said that while we were watching the game, and that was just based on the first half. We're actually looking at Willian, who's about 97 years old or whatever, still doing it, and he was effective today. He was cutting in, he was looking to shoot, looking to cross, use the ball well, pass the ball well, and in stark contrast, we've got a £90 million, an absolute waste of space at this moment in time. It's just, there's no point.
One thing I would say is, Ten Hag, I love you, but please play Martial and Højlund together at some point. All I'm asking is for like a 20-minute spell. But anyway, we ended up winning the game with then Kev on. Quickly, I want to talk about Mordz. I'll come to you. Yep. Eriksen, he's had some good moments for us in his cameos off the bench. But today proved to me Eriksen's best role in his team is coming off the bench. As a starter, especially in a away game, got lost, leggy.
Literally what you said. He doesn't have the legs, and I feel like everyone's known this though. We've known this for a while. That Eriksen, over full 90 minutes, he's never been fully effective. He either starts off good, or let's say he comes off the bench, then he'll finish off the game good. But for the whole game, Eriksen's never been the kind of player that you'd want to be, especially in a game where a team's playing counter-attacking football. You need players that can run fast as well, because you're gonna have fast winger, fast strikers, a lot of counter-attacks from the opposition, where you're going to want people like Mctominay and Eriksen to be chasing them down. It's not going to happen. You look at the City game, the 2 goals he scored was because of Eriksen and Mctominay. People are going to look at Johnny Evans or Maguire because Haaland was free in the box. Watch it properly, you'll see the reason why they both got caught out of position is because Eriksen and Mctominay lost their runners. And that is crucial in defence, because as a defender, you can't pick up everyone, and when you've got players running in and your midfield is not following the runs, you have to start covering. You have to start covering 2 or 3 players, and it looks like you're the one making a mistake, when in reality your midfielders should be the ones who are covering those spaces or those players. So so watching Mctominay and Eriksen as a 2. I don't even know if it was a pivot, because Eriksen was playing a lot deeper today. He's playing like a 6 by himself.
Eriksen's a 6 on a counter-attack. He's just a recipe for disaster.
It doesn't make sense. It's playing players out of position. Why is Eriksen so deep? Since when has anyone ever seen Eriksen play that deep? It's like when Bruno comes and plays super deep. It's like we want those players to be playing further forward. And I understand that McTominay by himself deep isn't the greatest either. And obviously him going forward, he scored a goal and whatnot, but he does seem to be playing a lot better going forward. But if that's the case, take out Eriksen and put an Amrabat. Put on someone who can play a bit deeper instead of trying to play both of them together.
I like your point there. I personally think McTominay played well today. I thought Eriksen was like... I've really liked Eriksen recently, but off the bench, if something's not broke, don't fix it. He's good at coming on and unlocking the door from the start. He just, especially in away games, just for me isn't the one. But I thought McTominay played well, and again, not McTominay's biggest fan. But on the build-up, I was saying I can understand why he's starting, because he will fight. He's got United in his blood. Like, he spoke really well, and people say, "Oh, it's just words. It's just words." Realistically, he should have had a goal.
Yeah, he should have. I was going to say
and for
that.
the rest of the game, I was watching him closely because Ricky's told me about this, and his passing was good. He was in the game. He drove the ball through midfield quite well. Wasn't absolutely amazing. I am clutching at straws a little bit, but one of our better players. Do you agree, Kev?
Yeah. McTominay, he's really good today. And again, I know we can talk about standards, but you have to judge the game that we've just watched. He should have had a goal today. He should have had a goal, and goals do change games. This is where the pattern of play, if we'd have gone 1-0 up within, that first kind of 10 minutes, which the goal should have stood. It's absolutely ridiculous that a referee can go and have a look, at a second look at an offside decision. What is going on? And then when you see it, so many decisions have gone against Manchester United. It's infuriating, but we take the lead there. We're in control. We can then dictate. I said this before the game. If we can get an early goal, then all right, Fulham have got to come at us. And Manchester United's best football sometimes is devastating is when we're on the counter-attack. Then we couldn't do that then, could we?
I've seen people in the chat saying McTominay can't pass. I watched him today because Ricky was showing me it back. I watched him. Go and watch it back. I sound like Ricky. Go and watch it back. He gave the ball away a couple of times. Some players do, but his passing was predominantly good. He drove through midfield well. Bruno and Eriksen definitely gave it away more than he did.
Do you think we can dominate midfield with McTominay in the midfield?
No, I don't, but I think he played well today.
But here's my issue.
And I think sometimes players deserve credit for playing well, and I thought he wasn't absolutely amazing. People usually go in on him very, very hard, and sometimes it is deservedly so. But today I thought he turned up for the team, scored a goal that should have stood, and I thought I think in the final third, he's a lot better than when he's in the defensive third, and that's a problem when you're playing that box-to-box role.
It is a big
you want to
problem.
Be someone,
I'll tell you why.
You want him to be more defensively sound, especially with someone like Eriksen there next to him.
I'll tell you why it's a big problem. During the game, I highlighted to all of you, look at our front line, how many players there is in the front line. The manager doesn't have a pattern of play or whatever it is, but he has this system where he keeps this 3-1-6, and I've put a tweet out there as well on this 3-1-6. It's horrible. People say counter-attacking football won't win you Premier League, but I tell you what, this 3-1-6 is actually shocking.
It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be 3-2-5, though.
Right. Hold that thought. You've put Eriksen, you've put Amrabat, you've put Casemiro. 3 really good midfielders in that one position, and each and every single one of them look alone. They look lost, they look lonely, they end up making rash decisions.
Isolated.
And they look isolated. It's not happened one game. It's not happened one season. You've seen with Casemiro last season, that's why you brought in Amrabat. You've had Amrabat, now he's on the bench, you don't use him. You've got Eriksen in there that you don't start, and then you start bringing him on in half-time just to throw something at it. Why do you not change your system to have 2 players in that midfield to support one another instead of having Scott McTominay be that free roam second striker position?
Do you know what I find interesting?
Sorry, because you do that and it works, and you keep this false narrative that we're getting wins and the players doing well. But in the bigger picture, in the long run, because it's a marathon, not a race, you're eventually going to keep getting dribbled past and so many times Fulham today carved us open. Fulham, what's the value of their midfield?
Sorry.
They're just walking through our midfield.
Can I just put in here? I get what you're saying, but for me, that wasn't McTominay's fault today. It was Eriksen's fault.
No, it's neither of
why
theirs.
is Eriksen there, though?
No,
That's what I'm saying, because Eriksen shouldn't be playing
Hold on.
deep. And
It's
if you're going to
neither of
change the
theirs.
personnel, you change Eriksen in that system.
It's neither of theirs. It's the manager's instruction. That's what I'm trying to point at. You full well know any player you put in that number 1, unless they're freaking Enzo Fernandez or that level of player, any player you put in that middle, they are going to get found out and they're going to get caught out.
If you would have put today, for example, say if you would have put like Amrabat with McTominay and Bruno, do you not think Amrabat and McTominay would have been more solid than Eriksen and McTominay?
Now, that's the thing I'm saying.
Defensively,
So I'm saying the personnel you would change
Right.
would be Eriksen, and that's not me having a go at Eriksen. I think he's been good recently, but he just wasn't for that role.
Right. Yeah. The reason why Casemiro worked so well last season is because Casemiro's so good at reading passes and reading the game. That's why he always was in a defensive phase. He looks like he's 2 steps ahead because he'll get and make the tackle, and he'll be like, wow, but that's not sustainable. And Casemiro's old. You need a player next to him that when he has to do that, they can pick up the ball and progress it forward. When you're asking Eriksen or even Amrabat to do that, they're not that profile of player. They can't do that. That's why everybody keeps asking for this Kobbie Mainoo, mythical player of ours, to come in. But even if you put Kobbie Mainoo alone in that midfield in the 3-1-6, he's going to get found out. Yeah. And then you're going to see a tide of fans online saying we rushed Kobbie Mainoo. It's the system that I don't like.
Good point. Good point. Kev, thoughts on the fact that Amrabat didn't get a kick today?
Well, we've won, so it doesn't really bother me that much. Just touching on Eriksen there, I agree that you know you can probably get 1/2 out of him. So that really now comes down to Erik ten Hag to make a decision on his game time and using him properly. I think his best time will be probably as an impact player. I cannot, again, I say sustainable. Playing him today, even after half-time into the second half, looks absolutely dead on his feet. You talk about a midfield battle and how important an area of the field that is, and Eriksen, it just gets constantly overrun. It is a worry, but we'll just have to see.
No protection.
Well, yeah.
No protection. And once you go past him, half a decent dribbler. Premier League, everybody is good enough to be in the Premier League who's here. Half a decent dribbler, you go past Eriksen, the first thing the centre-backs...
It's not hard to go past Eriksen.
Right, it's not hard. And the first thing the centre-backs are going to do, right, hold this, the first thing the centre-back is going to do, fans are going to say, Lindelof should have gone in, Maguire's keeping someone onside. And then now the whole thing is imbalanced. Yeah. And you need someone in there next to Eriksen that allows, not even if the players don't get there, it's tactical. The opposition manager will think, well, don't dribble past Eriksen because you got someone else there and you're going to lose the ball.
Isn't it? I would so wish, like, we would have had like a De Jong, like so badly. Yeah. I mean, Eriksen, I can't fault he gave away too many bad balls today, but I think it's just.
Why do you think I was telling Man United fans about De Jong?
I think Eriksen's like technicality and the way he can unlock doors. And by the way, he's crossing from that right-hand side from that position. He's done it a few times now. The cross that went in initially to Garnacho did really well to get it across goal for the Mctominay goal. He's done it with the Maguire header. Like Eriksen's got good traits on the ball. His delivery's good. But I just wish he had a bit more physicality to go with it, just a bit. De Jong would have been class in this team.
Yeah, you know what I would do? I would drop some wingers and pack up the midfield. I would. And people tell me, go and coach Man United. I would. Ricky said he would do a better job, but I would be Ricky's assistant and I would be saying, pack out the midfield and forget these dead wingers like Antony that don't work.
Play what formation?
I would have put like, if I'm playing Bruno on the right or Mount on the right, I would have packed up the midfield with Eriksen, Amrabat, Casemiro.
You play Bruno on the right?
Just to pack, I don't need. The thing is, I'm saying the way I would set out the team, I wouldn't use them wingers. I would pack out the midfield because look at the passes Eriksen can make from the right-hand side.
But how do you stretch the pitch if you've not got a real?
I wouldn't need to because it's not working for us.
Man United,
it's not working.
In Man United, you play with wingers, and our wingers haven't been good.
We're stretching the game.
Changing Antony will make a huge difference.
That's modern football, though.
Listen,
you stretch the pitch.
That's modern, but right now the ship is sinking. Instead of splashing water out the ship, close the leak.
So you're saying you would play that formation or that style of football just to get us through
That's right. That's right.
That wouldn't be your plan going forward.
That wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. But just now, because look at how many goals we conceded. I know we didn't concede today. But against a half-decent team, this is not sustainable.
We've got to move on because, show's running out of time. Wanted to quickly mention Onana really coming into his own. I thought 2 good saves today. Wasn't anything absolutely out of this world, but coming and collected the ball when he needs to was solid. And, when people take shots now, I actually feel more comfortable. So,
I'm feeling the edge, though, can't I?
Shout out to him because I really do think he's coming into his own and he started off poorly and it could have gone from bad to worse, but he's solidified himself and done really well, so shout out to him as well.
You think he solidified himself?
I think so. He's done well, yeah.
I don't. And I tell you why. Because if we don't make it out of the Champions League, big conversation about his mistakes in the Champions League will be brought up. Of course,
but people can make mistakes, and if you improve and rectify it and, move through that phase, I don't think we should be coming back to the past. Yeah, we can say Onana is probably the reason we're out the Champions League.
Not really. He's the reason we got 3 points.
He should have done better, but
today
the reason
we would have been out.
But I think it's too quick.
We would have been out without him, and, he's done well the last few games. I'm not just going to go back to his first few games when he was adapting, being like, oh, yeah, Onana's a pure reason we're out of the Champions League. He's done well. He's done well, though.
You got to look at the last game he's played. He's played well today.
Is that a pure reason?
But I need to make it out the group stage, and then I'll say, okay, you know what? Fine, we've gone past this phase.
He can't single-handedly get us the win against Copenhagen
But he single-handedly cost us some games as well.
But he single-handedly got us 3 points.
You look at it completely wrong.
No, that's my opinion. I think and fans were crying saying that Dave saves. Remember?
Wait, so you think we would have beat Bayern if it wasn't for Bayern?
No, the thing is, he's made single-handedly cost us games. That's a fact.
In the Champions League.
That's a fact. He's let the ball go through his hands.
And he single-handedly saved us a game in Copenhagen.
Right, but it's too quick to say. No, it's too quick. It's not a tit for tat.
Because so you're not going to give him credit for saving us.
No, because when he was making a mess, when he was making a mess, you were saying you wanted Ryan Sanchez.
Oh, come
and now all of a sudden he's your keeper. No, don't say you're having a laugh.
I've always wanted Onana. I was sat on this. People in the viewers will know I was sat on this show every single day when Onana was saying
when we watched games that you wanted Raya. Now you're joking. Now you're joking because you get found out. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. It's too quick. It's too quick. To judge a keeper.
Whatever.
That's all I'm saying. Is
whatever. You always have something to come back on, but at the end of the day...
Yeah, because you're the one that said you wanted Ryan Sanchez when he was...
I was having a joke.
Oh, now you're having a joke.
Were you not having a joke when you were clapping for Zidane the other day? Yeah, we can all come back to that.
No, I wasn't.
Honestly, you're annoying.
I don't have to sit here and say I was joking. I don't do that. I'll hold my point.
If you would have known me throughout the whole summer, I was saying when Onana was signing, I was absolutely buzzing for it. I sat here saying when he was having bad performances, oh, by the way, guys, I wanted Ryan Costa. I wanted any sort of ball-playing goalkeeper.
No, Beth, he needs to do a little bit more, and we need to go out the group stage. Then I can say, you know what, right, okay, because if we don't, people will highlight those mistakes and say, well.
You highlight the Dalot mistake as well.
Yeah, but again, if you go goal for goal, Dalot got us a win against Sheffield.
Oh, you write your own narrative for whatever players you like. You wite your own narrative for whatever players you like.
Mordz, we need to get the popcorn out, mate. This is box office.
I'm just not having someone sit here and say something that's not true. So.
Because you were joking.
Yeah, I was. Like, you joke all the time. Everyone knows that. You guys were sat here. I was having a laugh.
I don't know. But
And I did want Raya and Costa because I think they're both brilliant goalkeepers. And if we would have got either one of them in, that would have been better as well, in my opinion. Don't try and come back onto me because I proved a point that was quite well against yours.
Let's see how the season pans out and how he does, because he's conceded a lot of goals already. So we'll just see how.
So you're not going to give him credit for good performances?
You can't knock a man while he's doing
good. He's good. He's kept a clean sheet. I've not even said he's had a bad performance today. I just said he's.
You said there'd be questions.
I just think it's too quick for us. It's too quick for us to say.
But you can say that he's progressing now.
Yeah, he's made some good saves today. That's for sure. That's for sure. But I just think he's progressed on. It's too quick for me to say that. That's all I said.
Well.
Fair enough.
Well, he has progressed because he's not making mistakes anymore, which is good.
So far.
Okay, well, we'll move on from that. But Bruno Fernandes has been involved in 122 goals in 200 matches for Manchester United in all competitions, and Erik ten Hag is now the joint fastest Man United manager to reach 50 games. But you want Zidane, right? Faz?
Yeah, I respect Zidane as a manager. Very established. He's got a CV. Comes with pre-respect. But big Man United can attract him, so what can we do?
You think Zidane would be able to come and build up United from where we are? Because he didn't really. When he went to Madrid, there was a different situation.
Yeah, it was. They have the Galacticos, they have the money, they have the infrastructure, and we don't. But like I said to you before, when the ship is sinking, I'm not going to be splashing the water out. I'm going to try and make sure I close the leak. And the way the manager keeps playing this 3-1-6 system, as the fixture list is going to be hard in December as well. Don't forget. And if we can sustain these 2 games a week throughout the course of the season, I wonder where the team will end up in the league, because I think we're 4 points behind. I was telling you before when the game, with 4 points behind compared to this time last season. Yeah. And that's 11 games played so far. And if it's 22 games played, then that'll be 8 points behind if you do the same maths. And if it's 38 games, we'll probably be 10, 11 points behind. And where will we end up? Minus 75 points was it last season? Something like that. If we minus that 11 points, we won't be in a good situation. And top 4 is obviously important to the Glazers.
Fuck the Glazers.
For sure.
Well, anyway, guys, fiery end to that show. Against Copenhagen, any changes you'd make to the starting 11?
Not a chance Antony is getting anywhere near that team, if we can all agree on that from looking today.
Eriksen as well.
Eriksen as well. And then maybe, I mean, as Erik ten Hag looked at today, obviously we did bill it as kind of a must-win game, and I think it was for for Erik ten Hag at Manchester United to lose this game today was kind of unthinkable, which is crazy because we're only in November. But maybe Ten Hag's looked at this game and thought, I will give Eriksen a run out. And the bigger picture is obviously Copenhagen midweek. Maybe he has got one eye on that and he's thinking that maybe Amrabat comes back in then for Eriksen or whatever. But it's worked today, which is great. But Eriksen and Antony would be the 2 that I'd be looking at and thinking need to change that up. Because it's totally pointless at this moment in time, regardless of what's going on with Antony, playing him. I've just said before, I think it's like playing 10 men. You're almost, in effect, got a man less because he's offering absolutely nothing. Yeah. It pains me to say it because I want to see him do well. I've sat here and said, give him time, but, what point? I'm going to sound deluded if I sit here every single week going, Antony, forget the price tag, he's putting in a shift. Ricky will always say as well, defensively, he tracks back. We didn't buy him to track back and do a bit of defensive work. He's an attacking player. And if you want to pull out stats and that, well, when's the last time he scored a goal, contributed towards a goal? The stats aren't there. It doesn't look great. Stats can be twisted to suit any kind of agenda, but the main one there is what goals is he scoring? What's he creating? He's not contributing.
It's the creation more so than anything. Because we all said that when we get a strong number 9, he'd be linking up with them really well. But you've not seen absolutely nothing. It's been actually worse than last season. Maybe it's the personal situations in his life, but it's just not acceptable for a player. And it's nothing to do with the price tag. It's just you think he's a Ten Hag player, he's played in his system, he understands the football that the manager wants to play. So where is it going wrong?
Yeah. It is almost like Ten Hag's cutting his nose off to spite his face in a way, because he is responsible for bringing Antony to Manchester United. I've just said, ultimately, if he continues to play him, results will not go our way. So that's why I was saying he could contribute to Ten Hag, in theory, getting the sack. But I don't know. I honestly, he cannot keep persisting with it. You have to look and think, It is the price tag in a way, because Erik ten Hag's thinking, I've spent this money on him. You know, whether the club are saying, listen, you need to be playing him, I don't know at all. But it's just not sustainable one bit. It really is not.
Just so you know, by the way, from before, I don't want to bring it back up, but if you actually go back to that clip afterwards, I say I'm joking, and also...
Did you just search that up then?
You can have a different opinion to me, of course, but I just don't want things said that aren't true, that's all.
Did you think Casemiro was finished and then you said Casemiro's back? Were you joking then?
Yeah, because I was trying to get behind him, Faz.
But when you said he's finished, were you joking?
People can change their opinions. And he had a really good game and I was trying to get behind him. And then since that, he's dropped off a bit and now he's injured. You can change your opinions on players.
I always said everybody flip-flops, it's okay. We all like flip-flops anyways.
But Jaggett says 3-1-6 is killing the winger and striker, especially Rashford and Højlund. They are not getting space. Mahid says Onana is in good form, not established yet. Siraj says, I still feel Onana has issues with low balls. Nick P says, watching City as I watch you all debate, every man on that pitch is looking for 3 balls to find Haaland. What a difference. Siraj says, again, boiling down to lack of strategic plan for Erik ten Hag. International 2675 says, standards are shockingly low. Would you be happy with top 8? PLJ says, Mctominay was not good. He was tackled and bypassed so many times. He was just better than crap. EC says, Rashford makes poor effort intensity acceptable when he's on. When he's not, Bruno can set the level. We need to select for culture and not class. Seb says, Polina was so good again. Would be perfect for United. Polina's such a good player. Patrick, Onana saved us again. What that save versus Polina was world class. Is Manu ever going to get any minutes? No cup games apart from Champions League. Trey Warren says Sancho can't even play well in training. Alan Kenny says Sancho had a bad attitude at Dortmund. He didn't even start when he first came in under Ole. Advait says, are we forgetting that Antony is coming back from big personal situation? Are we suggesting that players who are human are not affected by things? Ten Hag is giving him time. Well, Faz did suggest that. Siraj says, what more do Palestra and Garnacho need to get a start? 5 Cantona says, collar up, chip in the corner, faces fans like the dawn, Christmas is coming. All 3 of you sing my song, please. 5 Cantonas, love it. Come and sing with us at the Christmas show. Wayne List says, I wish Erik ten Hag could list all the bad VAR decisions like a Klopp would to make the refs think twice. Garnacho should get a run now. And Ewan says, Garnacho and Palestra have got to get a start on the wings from now on. In my opinion, they test the opposition a lot more and create more chances. Thank you everyone for your super chats. Just a quick one. Diogo Dallo put an Instagram on of them winning the game, and he captioned it "Play like you mean it," which I like because nice. Sort of trying to build that connection with the fans. Last but not least, before we go, because we've run over, man of the match for everyone. Faz, I'll start with you. I
think I'm gonna have to give it to Wan-Bissaka. He's just overall, I think. I'd like to give it to Harry Maguire as well, because he played with the knock on his head, and it showed. That's a massive for any player, even though I just said all the things about Harry and him wanting money to leave. But to play on with a knock like that, a lot of players would have caved in. Maybe Harry Maguire's got a career in boxing after this, because the guy can take a hit. But I think Bissaka is just very clean, very smooth. And you almost forget about that side when Bissaka's playing, because you're just like, oh yeah, everything's going to be okay. Yeah. So I think for that reason... You don't know what you've got till it's gone, do you? Now the fact he's been missing reason, and now he's come back For that reason, I'll give it to Wan-Bissaka, yeah.
I have to totally agree on that one. That's what I had in my head was Wan-Bissaka. I think it's very impressive considering how long he's been out to come back in, and you don't even look at him and say, oh, he needs a couple of games to get back into his rhythm. It's whether United have managed that situation well or whatever, but for him to just fit in and hit the ground running again today, I was like, yeah, I'm Wan-Bissaka, man of the match for Kev.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I think it's the confidence that you have. But whenever he maybe lost the ball or the ball might have gone past him, in my head I was thinking, he's going to get it back anyway, or he's going to do something.
He always does,
to win it back. At one point in my head, I honestly thought there was no winger in the world that could beat him. Like one-on-one. I didn't think anyone... Mbappe,
on his day, I still think...
On his day, Mbappe, Vinny, whoever you are, you can try and beat Wan-Bissaka. That's my right back. But yeah, I think he had a very good game today. I have to agree. Full House, something we can all agree on, everyone. Yeah.
We know that if Ricky was here, he would have given it Johnny Evans.
Oh, yeah. 100%. He would have given it Johnny Evans, or...
Didn't do a lot today.
Probably, maybe even Mctominay. But I'd give it Wan-Bissaka. I honestly think if Wan-Bissaka didn't start, we would have conceded Free William down that side.
Yeah,
some sort of chance.
He just shows up that side. He's just so confident. You're that confident in him that even if he does get beat, them recovery tackles are absolutely mental, because the timing of them, sometimes you look and think, but you're not even nervous, are you? You see him like do that mad lunge and the leg just comes in and he's...
It's not fouls either,
it's
is it? All clean.
unbelievable.
He always wins it.
Always.
So weird. But anyway,
Spider-Man.
guys, that is the show. Faz, all is good in love and war. Respect.
I expect a packet of Skittles next.
You should be getting me another packet of Skittles. Are you crazy? You came for
You
me
told me
big
to
time.
shut up during the show. When was the last time I did that to you? Packet of Skittles.
Okay, I
Thank you
shouldn't.
very much.
Okay, if I did I say that?
Zip it, packet of
If I
Skittles.
did say that,
if you
then
keep
I'm sorry.
talking, I'll make it 2, 3,
If I
or
did
maybe
that, I'm
even
sorry,
a box
but
of
you
donuts.
did lie on my character. So anyway.
Oh,
But anyway,
here we
guys, thank you
go.
very much for watching the show.
Why are you going red for?
It's my blusher. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching the show. Maud, thank you. Kev, just kind of sat there and ate your popcorn.
Yeah, it's great. That.
Faz, yeah, thanks for being on. I'm joking. But everyone in the community as well, thank you for getting your chats in. And yeah, everyone, super chats on form as per usual. And great to have the community involved in the fan forum. We love it. And you know what? It would be boring without a bit
We're
of
only 6 points behind from Man City. 8 points behind. Is it 8 points behind from the top? Yes.
Are you joking? City are winning like 3-0.
Oh, forget them.
Do you know what we
It
do?
was
You know what
second
we do,
half of the
Faz?
season. We're back in the manager.
You know what
We're
we do?
back in the man. You lot clip me up all the time. Clip this up. We're back in. You don't want me to back the manager? 6 points behind from what they winning? What's the score? Forget it anyways. We're coming for you, Man City.
Oh, we'll be coming
You've
for
got to
Aston
use that
Villa.
T word.
We're coming for Aston Villa.
And the admin that tweeted about Luton, take it easy on us or whatever. Shame on you, admin. Shame on you. Whichever one that was that tweeted it out about Luton.
Well, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. Hit a like on the video on your way out and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Stick match of the day on later. And yeah, we'll see you later on.